Hi everyone, this is Ray, or some of you might know me as Tiki With Ray. Today I am on Capitol Hill, woo, the center of activity for Seattle, Washington, and I am at Rumba. Now, I don't know if Martin Kate wants to know this answer, but do you guys have the largest rum collection on the West Coast?
To my understanding, his is larger, but ours is all held on premise here. So if you want to come in and get any one of the rums on our list, we can just pull it down immediately from the shelf and you can have it right there. Yeah,
I'll tell you what I've found. Like, I've seen your book. It's literally like a book of rums, and you have it separated by country. Mm-hmm. It's just crazy. Now, Rumba it's not a tiki bar.
No, that's right. We're a rum bar.
Full-on rum bar. Now, do you guys happen to know when this place opened up?
Coming up on about 7 years.
7 years?
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That is right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, time flies. It's such a, man, I'm getting old. I remember coming here a couple of years ago, and the thing about Seattle is, like, I like tiki drinks. Obviously, I mean, that's what this is all about. And it's very, very hard to find, well, first of all, Seattle doesn't have any really good tiki bars, just a tiki bar.
Right.
There's some, but it's like, are the drinks worth a damn, you know? We don't have to name names. We don't have to name names or anything like that. But the thing that I really liked about Rumba, the first time I came here, is like, you guys have more tiki drinks, more good tiki drinks than some of the tiki bars around Seattle.
Aww.
And you have your regular menu, but then you have a tiki night, which is Wednesdays.
Correct.
And just recently, you two have taken it over and completely revamped it. And it's actually called, how do you say that?
Ogopogo.
Ogopogo.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. So what did you change about the tiki night?
So when Sean and I decided we wanted to kind of take it over and make it a little bit more distinct, we were playing around with how to make it unique and how to make it uniquely Seattle. And we kind of brainstormed a bunch of stuff. We had a session where we took a bunch of notes. I'm sure if we read them, it wouldn't totally make sense.
No.
But
Not at all.
I had kind of taken what we had talked about, and then when I sat down with the designer, Toshiro Stang, who does all of Rumba's graphic design work, he and I kind of took it further. We were playing with things, and I stumbled on listings about Ogopogo, who is a Pacific Northwest lake serpent monster. And I thought the name sounded appropriately tiki, and it was local, and I think someday the design's going to make a really cute mug.
Are you guys going to make a mug?
I mean, we're talking.
We're looking into it.
Oh, that would be
We would
awesome.
love
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Pacific Northwest, are you local? Or were you born and raised here?
I was not. I am from the Midwest. Moved here 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Sean?
Midwest.
You're-
I was born in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee?
8 years ago, I moved here.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
actually, almost to the day.
So sadly,
Today.
Foundation wasn't around when you were living.
Foundation was still there.
Oh, really?
And that's where I kind of fell in love with tiki.
Oh, really?
actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I was because there used to be a punk rock bar. It's in a punk rock neighborhood, River West, and I would go there along with every other bar in that neighborhood.
What about you? Where are you? You're from the Midwest, but we're from the Midwest.
I'm from Fargo.
Fargo, North Dakota.
That's the one. Born
I
and
was
raised.
just in your town literally like 4 weeks ago.
Why?
Just passing through.
Oh, that's what you do.
Just
then.
passing through on my tiki road trip across
Saying
America.
hi.
Not a lot of tiki in Fargo.
No, but there's a lot
as
of
it
hotel
turns
rooms.
out.
A lot of
Yes.
options.
That's true. Fargo's bar scene, especially when I was there, was pretty limited. Have a lot of really great dive bars, and that's kind of it.
Is that when you got into bartending yourself?
It is not. I actually left my hometown at 18, and I didn't start bartending until I was 28.
Oh, I guess we should wait for
Sorry.
that. It's okay.
I don't know how to turn it off either.
We're not open. Call back later. So what we'll do is we'll just leave off from where we left off.
Okay.
So did you get into making beer? So when you lived in Fargo, North Dakota, is that where you got into making cocktails?
It is not. I actually left Fargo when I was 18, and I got into cooking. I was in kitchens long before I was behind a bar. My first bartending actually was in Seattle.
No, wait, did you move from Fargo to here?
I did.
Okay. What made you come out to Seattle?
I was done with university, so I wanted to live by the ocean, and I had family nearby, and Seattle's beautiful.
How did you end up getting out to Seattle, Sean?
I mean, you've been to Milwaukee,
Yes, I have.
and I couldn't do it anymore. I did my 29 years, and
You did your 29 years.
I'm like, you know what? I need to change. So I was gonna move down to Portland, actually, and then a buddy of mine was like, hey, I'm moving to Seattle probably around the same time, and I just thought, I'll go with you. And we drove out here, and that was it.
Yeah, but you know what's though? I mean, Portland's an awesome city.
Yeah, Portland's
So I
great.
mean, even if you ended up in Portland, you'd still be making out okay. So when did you start getting into making cocktails then?
Cocktails. Well, I started bartending in Australia, and
Australia.
Yeah.
Australia, Wisconsin.
Australia, Wisconsin. Yeah, small town right above Baroque, in Melbourne, and they.
So there was
everybody was like, "Hey, what are you gonna do for money traveling around?" I'm like, "I don't know, hospitality industry, I guess." And I became a server at some spot,
Yeah.
and saw what the bartenders were doing, and I'm like, I want to do that. And so I started doing that. And then when I moved out here, I saw that it was the cocktail thing was a thing. And I
Yeah,
thought,
well, I mean, let's talk about the craft cocktail movement. So, in your opinion, when do you think it started? I'm thinking like mid 2000s.
yeah, probably 6, 7.
Something about
Something like
that.
that.
What do you think, Jason?
I honestly, I had my first brush with craft cocktails in Seattle. Sun Liquor at the time and Tavern Law were really my first.
Oh yeah, Tavern Law.
Yeah, were really my first exposures.
Sun Liquor was my favorite, my introduction to it too.
They did it so well, and it was the first time I'd ever seen fresh ingredients that way, and like just innovation with kind of styles and why this makes sense in this glass. It was also thoughtful, and I actually also spent time in Melbourne in Australia as a cook in a bourbon cocktail bar. So sort of continued my education there, and then by the time I came back,
Did you two both know each other?
we did not.
No.
Is that just a complete coincidence?
complete coincidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that would have
Fates,
made
if
that
you
would have
will.
made sense that you two both met on Australia, but
No.
that would make things too easy.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, yeah, I work here.
Yeah, so I came back after 2 years back of house in a cocktail bar, and it made the transition pretty easy because I already knew sort of how a bar functioned and how the flow of work happens. It was sort of a no-brainer to move behind the bar when I found out you can't really pay rent as a cook in Seattle anymore.
No, you can't. And here's the thing I find interesting about the craft cocktail movement, because now it's 2019. Yeah, it's like been going on for like over a decade, and it just sort of seems like it's always been around. But the more I think about it, it's like no. Like I remember, like in the early 2000s, in the 90s, I was gonna go to a bar. I was gonna get like a gin and tonic.
Yeah.
Give me a gin and tonic, like a rum and coke. Oh, I was gonna be fancy, a Cuba Libre, or maybe no. My big thing was like just to get like a martini,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
and that was about as craft as you could get.
Yeah.
And then you started to get the craft cocktails, and I remember a lot of the speakeasy kind of places started to pop up. Like Tavern Law has the speakeasy place up there. Soul Liquor is very well. It's now Soul Liquor, but it's a very, very small place. But when I started getting into tiki drinks, at first they were terrible. Like for like the first couple of years, like if you went to like any like tiki bar, the drinks, well, they got you drunk. That's about it.
Right.
Rum, pineapple, grenadine, 3 shots of rum or whatever the fuck it is, and then that's it. And they weren't very good, or not very tasty, for a lack of a better word. And then eventually some of the craft cocktail people started to get into making tiki drinks, and they started to become actually very, very good. And just as I said before, some of the best tiki drinks in Seattle are here at Rumba. So how did you guys get into making tiki drinks, or how did you make that switch from making craft cocktails? So you guys are both making craft cocktails, and then you got into making tiki drinks. How did that happen?
Well, I've always been a fan of tiki.
Oh, okay. How did you get into it?
Foundation.
Just Foundation?
Foundation, and I saw what they were doing, and their drinks I thought were all right. Of course, that was 22, 23-year-old Sean, and who knows.
Well, you
he
know what?
thought
I
at
mean,
that
like
time,
that place is incredible. I've
Yeah,
been there. The
absolutely.
drinks are awesome. So yeah, you went in
yeah,
knowing what a Mai-Tai should taste like.
yeah, exactly.
And
then I got the formal education, just working and
Yeah.
tasting things and seeing how flavors work. And I'm like,
how did you get into tiki?
I was actually already working here. I've been hired on because I had a little bit of background in rum, and I was sort of looking for a job, and the GM at the time hired me on. And then pretty early on, the two bartenders who were working Tiki Night were sort of on their way out. So I got trained in on Tiki just to back up the guy who was running the program.
Yeah.
And when he left, I was sort of the natural choice to take over. So that's kind of how I sort of fell into it, but fell in love.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, what would?
That's cute. Aw.
It's a nice story.
So, how did what's the transition for you guys to go from making regular craft cocktails to making tiki? Was there much of a transition, or is it kind of the same, or how would you describe making the difference between making tiki drinks and making just regular craft cocktails?
I feel like for me the approach is similar. I've always run at cocktailing the way that I sort of approach things in the kitchen, which is I understand what these ingredients do on their own. I've seen how they interact with other ingredients, and then I sort of throw myself into a theme or like a flavor profile and sort of jigsaw in what fits. So that's kind of my approach.
Yeah.
What about you, Sean?
I look at craft cocktails as more rigid, and tiki is a little more free form. And but now that I understand flavors more from the cocktail or the craft part of things, and now I can take that into tiki and make great tasting cocktails rather than here's rum
Do you
and orange juice.
do you guys think that making tiki drinks is very limiting because you're mostly dealing with rum?
No.
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 No,
Okay.
because I mean, yeah, you're mostly using rum, but I mean that's the thing with, for me anyway, with tiki. Like you can go and I'm gonna make a scotch.
Oh, totally.
I'm gonna make a scotch tiki drink now, or a gin tiki, or whatever, and making that work, and still using, you know, your passion fruit, falernum orgeat, whatever, and making that work with the libation.
I totally agree. I think that it really opens itself up to experimentation with different spirits, and I think you can find a flavor profile that'll work with almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it was just rum, like we've got 650 rums here. It runs such a wild gamut of flavor.
Yes, it does.
Even if that was the only spirit I was allowed to use in tiki, I would never get bored.
No, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, when I got into tiki, that's when I actually discovered that there is different types of rum. And there's a world beyond Bacardi and Captain Morgan's. Because that shit never tasted good. And it's like, there's so many good rums and so many different types of rum. And well, let's talk about like a Mai-Tai. Let's talk about the 44 Mai-Tai. You know, in theory, you know, you're supposed to you could use like a dark Jamaican and like a Martinique. Mm-hmm. But you could do Mai-Tais with other different types of rum.
Sure.
And it tastes completely different. I mean, there's so many different types of tasting rums that, yeah, just changing one rum can change the whole profile of the drink.
Completely.
So out of all the rums in the world, what's your favorite rum?
We talk about this all the time.
No, do you have any like sponsors that you have?
Puget Sound Rum Company.
My favorite rum is Puget Sound Rum Company.
Yeah.
Are they any good?
Yeah, they make a very solid local product. They're a great company. We use their stuff in blends and cocktails. But
They're watching this video. She's like, you better say that.
Jessica, we got all our money on you.
my everyday favorite rum, reach for it any time, is Dr. Bird Jamaican rum.
Yeah.
Bottled out of Detroit. It's delicious. I love
Banana
it.
notes.
Oh my God.
And the thing is, I was looking at this at your drink menu. You have a Dr. Junglebird.
Yes, it plays so well with those flavors. It's delicious. It's funky enough. It's got this depth and warmth. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great rum.
Yes.
I have 2 bottles of it at home.
I cannot get enough. It's that Worthy Park delicious like banana-y flavor and something about the time and that cask finish. It's so good.
So, are most of these original drinks?
I mean the Dr. Junglebird is obviously a twist on a classic, the Junglebird cocktail, but everything else, except for your Mai-Tai variation.
Yeah, Mai-Tai
So this is your Mai-Tai variation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's the story with this Mai-Tai variation?
We used to have a drink. What is the twist on the Trinidad Sour? What was that drink? I made it last night. Had you?
No, wait, hold on.
the,
Wait. This says blue curacao in it.
Yeah, gotta have a blue drink on the
So it's a
menu.
blue Mai-Tai.
So
Yes.
blue, yeah, exactly. So I wanted to have fun with it, and rather than using dry curacao that we normally use
Yeah.
in our Mai-Tai, just why not blue curacao?
Does it taste exactly the
And
same,
it
right?
tastes mostly exactly the same, yeah.
I am.
That was like a world opening to me when I found that out. That there's absolutely no difference between orange and blue curacao. I'm like,
Just that it's blue.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely feel like we need a blue cocktail on the menu at any given time, and this fills that spot very nicely. It's delicious.
or one with a rainbow going through it, because
Love that one.
who's a Pink Floyd fan?
That one actually came about. That is
The Pink Floyd Laser Spectacular.
we have these cute little flash cubes that will like LED flash different colors in like a clearish drink. And it was going off, and I was just thinking about laser light shows. So the name sort of came about workshopped, and then Toshi Stang put together that graphic, and it's perfect. I actually have a tattoo of it because I loved it so much.
You're like, this drink is going to stay on this menu permanently.
There's this guy that shows up sometimes in like a matching suit who will just dance over here for no tips, seemingly just for joy. He comes out in the summertime.
It's summertime.
I know. I'm excited for my first sighting.
See, what these homeless people need to do is they need to have Facebook pages. Kind of like with the traveling trucks, the food trucks, so you know where they're going to be.
Yeah, you check in.
That
and
would
you'd
be
like,
good.
That we're like, hey, I'm going to be on the corner of 12th and Pine this Friday.
if you want to come see me take off my pants.
Yeah.
To 12th and Pine.
Hey gang, this is Tiki With Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.